Already one Sport 123. So recently I kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole. If any of you guys are into like preparedness stuff and thinking about grid down scenarios, whatever that may be, whether it's natural disaster or otherwise, you kind of start going down, your own little rabbit hole. So what if I told you that you could charge all of this indefinitely, as long as you have sun? So yes, it's going to be solar for under £5. So you have a Baofeng UV5R with the extended 3700 milliamp battery, 4 lithium AA's, and 6 rechargeable CR123s, which I will get into what these are specifically. These will work in your Surefires and all of your tactical lights and anything that's rated for a regular CR123. A lot of the CR123s that are rechargeable out there are actually a higher voltage than these are. So they oftentimes are not compatible with a lot of your quote unquote, tactical accessories. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I'll also talk about what these batteries are because this is a really cool product that I got put onto by a buddy of mine. And it was able to save me quite a bit of weight on my total system. But, you know, whatever devices you have that can take AA's, whatever devices you have that take CR123s, and then obviously, depending on what you run, you can kind of supplement things here or there. So, without further ado, the testing that I've been doing recently involve Powerfilm Solar. This is the Powerfilm Max, LightSaver Max, excuse me. And it is a little pricey, I will admit. However, I have been really impressed by the capability that this is offered. This is a 30-watt panel, and it actually folds out to be quite large. Don't quote me on the actual exact dimensions. I'll actually just link the website so you guys can look it up because I don't recall what it is off the top of my head. But this is a 30-watt panel. In addition to a 30-watt panel, it's a 18,000 milliamp approximately battery, and it has a built-in LED light and also USB-C input and a 12-volt input. Let me flip that around so you can see. You hit the button, gives you the battery indicator, as you can see here. And then the outputs, it has two USBs, again the flashlight built in, and a 12-volt connector. So, in addition to this, I've been watching some of the videos, and I also picked up a TP Solar. You can find it on Amazon. It's about 60 bucks or so. This depends where you buy it from as far as how much that costs. It's north of $350 or so. But this is a 30-watt TP solar panel. So combined here, you actually have 60 watts of charging power, and you can daisy chain them. So this has two USBs and a 12-volt output as well. And what you do is you take the 12-volt output and you put it in the 12-volt input, and then now you have a 60-watt panel. The biggest thing for me was that this is an integrated battery pack. This is flexible and it folds up nice and compact, as you can see. It's just pretty much a big tube. And this is just a solar panel. It doesn't have any battery. But I wanted to have battery power so that way it would not be really limited on the amount of output that I can do with the charging. And I'll get into some of that, because when you're charging, all this stuff, granted, that's not like a lot, and you can also charge your cell phone, because this system does take up two USBs, but if you're out in the field and you're charging on a daily basis, which I'll get into in a little bit, you won't need to have these things hooked up to the Powerfilm for such a long time. So without further ado, so let's get into the batteries a little bit. And I have some chargers off screen here that I'll show you. But these are the CR123s, and I took one out of the package so you can actually see it. This is a, There we go, K2 Energy. And the model is right here. Oop, come on, focus now. There we go. LFP123a. And remember the voltage, 3.2 volts. That's important for all of your Surefire stuff because you do not want to put in the other type of batteries that are 3.7 volts unless they're rated for like an 18650 or something like that. These batteries, they used to actually be sold by Surefire, and they've since kind of like rebranded into their own thing. So now they're no longer carrying these batteries, but they're the exact same specs. So what I found with these batteries is if you do decide to go to the rechargeables, regardless if it's for something like this or otherwise, they're roughly about half the battery life. Let me see, actually I think it has it listed here. It's got the watt hours listed, but it works out to be about 650 milliamps if I recall correctly. And your normal CR123 is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 13 or 1400 or something like that. You can look that up for yourself, validate it. So, but they work out to like literally half. And I've also done some runtime testing on a couple of different Surefires and different devices, and I found that it is roughly about half, and it gives you similar performance to the disposable variety. Now, these guys, this is really cool. So these are the pale blue lithium-ion AA batteries. And as you can see here, they have a little USB port in all of them. This is really cool because I didn't need to run an external charger like I do for these, which I'll show you in a second. I didn't need to run an external charger for these. These guys here, they actually run a cable that plugs them from one USB to 4 batteries, just like that. So I was able to save a whole bunch of weight by going to these AA's. And then on top of that, I got a, which I'll show you guys here, all the stuff that I got. I got a USB charger that plugs into the battery directly. And again, this saved me a bunch of weight because I didn't have to run the docking station to actually dock the whole radio. So because of that, I was able to save a ton of weight. Because before the first iteration of this, I was running the docking cable, or excuse me, the docking station with the a car charging cable, and then I was running a 12-volt adapter, which I'll show you that here in a second. But because I was able to get rid of that stuff, I was able to save a ton of weight. So let's clean the area here a little bit. And I also got a Magpul DAKA pouch for some improved water resistance on all of my adapters, and then they're all in a little Ziploc here. But these are all the adapters. And we'll kind of start pulling them out here. So what this is here, I'm not going to take that out because it's a pain. This is a Nitecore, actually I have it right here in the box. So this is a Nitecore Q6 quick charger. And this is a 6-port charger. I have the i8, but it's quite a bit heavier than the 6. So I ended up going with the 6 because for my system, I'm only running 6 batteries at a time. So this is all I really needed to support my stuff. The i8 is literally like 8 ounces heavier than this. I believe this charger only comes in, I believe, at 10 ounces or so. But you can see you can charge all of those batteries. It's a lot. So feel free to pause on that, and you got your inputs and your outputs there, which will also become important when you start to factor in how long things are going to charge. So depending on how many batteries you're charging at a time, how depleted they are, that's going to impact your charge times. Anyway, I'll set to the side. So the Q6 charger, oh, I left some stuff in there, has a barrel connector. And with that barrel connector, take the other stuff out. That barrel connector, you can actually get a 12-volt adapter, which they sell, they being Nitecore. Come on now. we'll take that out in a second. But they sell a 12-volt adapter, which is this, that plugs into that barrel connector. And the majority of this stuff can be found on Amazon, with the exception of the battery stuff. This is the 12-volt adapter for the Powerfilm. So you plug this barrel connector into the 12-volt output of the Powerfilm. Then you plug this guy into this guy. And then from there, this guy into that charger. And I'm trying to get this last little cable out. There we go. Sorry, I'm doing everything with one hand. So this will all plug into this here, this guy. So from there, you're using your 12-volt output. And now you're able to charge all those batteries that I showed on the back of the box for the Nitecore chargers, so the 6 CR123s or whatever else you're running that it supports. And remember, we have 2 USBs remaining. So this is the Baofeng USB battery charger. And there you go, you get your label there. This can also be found on Amazon. The only thing I will say is it's not the best of quality. I mean, it is Chinesium, as Baofeng is. But it does work, and it has a little charging indicator light. So again, saves a ton of weight. And this guy here is that cable I was talking about for those AA batteries. So you got one USB, so this will take up the second USB port on the Powerfilm. And these are the 4 USBs that plug into the AA. So we got our AA charging, our Baofeng charging, and then our CR123 and whatever other batteries that you're running that this supports charging. And then now let's get into when you want to daisy chain the panels, right? So if you want to daisy chain them, you're going to need a, this is the, I believe, 3.5 by 2.1 or 2.2 millimeter, whatever the standard connector is for this. And it's just a male to male. And then this is a female portion to that cable, and then this is a I should have looked up the diameter, but yeah, I'll try to put that in the description because I really don't remember off the top of my head of what diameter this cable is. But you're going to need basically this connector here, which is a little bit smaller than this one, in order to plug into the Powerfilm. So that's what you got for cables and stuff. And then, like I said, I got the Magpul DAKA pouch just for some additional waterproofing. Let's get into some of the data aspects. I'm going to try to speed up here because we're already 13 minutes in the video. From my testing, I found that when I ran just the Powerfilm by itself, charging in the sun, I laid it directly in the grass. I didn't angle it. It was clear skies. I was averaging about 10% battery charge per hour. Now, when I daisy chained the 2 panels, I got roughly about 1.5 to a little bit less than 2 times the speed, the charging speed, because you're daisy chaining them. While this is a 30 watt panel, I think it's only like a 22 or 23 watt panel after, you know, conversions and all that stuff. So it doesn't quite work out to double, but it works out to about 1.5, so like maybe 1 3/4 times charging. Some of the other charging I had got was with the Baofeng. This is the longest thing that took to charge from depletion. This took about 5 hours to charge this big battery. Anybody who runs Baofeng, and especially runs the extended batteries, you'll know that the thing lasts for freaking ever. You only really burn your battery if you're transmitting. Like that, just receiving or leaving it on, it really doesn't burn that much. In fact, when I was going through the process of draining the battery over and over again to get different test results, I literally had to leave it on the FM setting with the light on that's built into the Baofengs. You know, just let it play for over a day, and that's how long it took for it to constantly be receiving a transmission, which is FM, and with the light on to drain this big battery. So this is going to kind of segue into what I was talking about earlier, where if you're in the field, you're probably not going to drain this all the way. So you may not need to, worry about the whole, oh, I'm going to have to leave it plugged into my battery for 5 hours. Yeah, that's like an absolute worst case scenario. The other thing is these guys took, I believe, about 3 hours to charge all 6. So keep that in mind. That is a absolute worst case scenario. Like, this is completely dead. This is completely dead. If you're in the field, chances are, if you you have some downtime in between days or whatever, then you're going to have the opportunity to A, charge, and then B, you're more than likely not going to drain these all the way. So that's going to make your mileage vary a bit. And like I said, it's going to also give you a whole lot more capability. Now, you don't need this panel. This is just simply if you want faster charging of your Powerfilm battery. This is completely optional, and then you have the option to also plug in some additional USBs here if you wanted to. So if you wanted to charge like a GPS or your phone in addition to this, it'll just split the power obviously between the 12 volt and the USBs, and depending on what you got plugged in. So I was extremely impressed by this entire system. I want to say this entire thing weighs about 4 pounds and 8 ounces, I believe, 4.5 pounds. I will double check here in just a second. And that's without batteries, of course. So that's the 2 panels, and then all of the charging equipment, which I'll throw in the bag here so I can grab a quick weight of everything. Again, this is extremely capable for how small and how lightweight this whole system is. And the biggest thing that I was looking for is something that I can fit in a very small bag, something that was going to be rugged, which Powerfilm, if you guys don't know, they have military contracts. They do have mil standards that they do meet on these. They are not completely submersible, so keep that in mind. It is only water resistant. It is not waterproof. So keep that in mind. Take that into account when it comes to waterproofing, and of course keep your caps on, which helps a lot with that waterproof rating. Same thing with this. And I wanted something that could basically fit in. If you guys are into the tactical stuff, you know what a Haley Strategic flat pack is. All this stuff fits very, very easily in a Haley Strategic flat pack, which is not a big bag whatsoever. But let's grab some weights here so that way I can wrap this up. And I really wanted to put this video out because there's not a lot of data on the Powerfilm, and it's probably just because it's cost prohibitive for a lot of people. So we're putting pounds and ounces. Let's put this like this. So we're 1 pound 8 ounces for just the TP panel. And you know what? I'll do everything separately and then combine it all at the end. That way you guys can see. We're at 1 pound 9 ounces, 9.5 ounces for the Powerfilm. And then for all the chargers and stuff like that, I'm not going to take it all out because I just put it back in here. But you're at 1 pound 5 ounces. So everything all together. Make sure everything's on the actual thing. Come on, stay on there. There you go. You're at 4 pounds, 6.8 ounces for 60 watts of charging, and for pretty much supporting all of your tactical accessories and all that stuff. And yeah, I hope this video helps you guys. Like I said, there's not a lot of data on this stuff. I really wanted to do a video on this just because there's really not a lot of content, and there's not a lot of guys doing what I wanted to do with this. Some of them are doing ham radio stuff, and some of them kind of just generally talk about the product. I wanted to put data out there that this is some of the things that you can do. And mind you, I ran everything charging off of this simultaneously. I was extremely impressed by the battery capability of this. The one negative, I do have to tell you about this, the one negative is the first one I bought, the LCD panel, or LED panel, excuse me, was misaligned, and the USB-C charging port was out of spec. I reached out to Powerfilm, and they were like, oh, no, that's definitely not right. Send that right away. Oh, and I'm forgetting, the LED light was DOA, dead on arrival. So I reached out to Powerfilm. They said absolutely not. That's not acceptable. They went ahead and sent me an RMA and all that good stuff, and had me send the panel back. They had it for about a week, and then finally came to the conclusion, like, you know what, we're gonna just go ahead and send you a new one, and they sent me out a brand new unit. So that's really important to me that they do take care of the customer. They do care about the reputation. Just wanted to put that little data point out there. But I hope this video helps you guys. Like I said, give you some different capabilities. You got to think, if you're in a sustained, in the field or grid down situation, you are your resupply. So if you don't have the logistics to continuously get batteries or whatever, and you're running stuff that's like really high drain, then this is something that's appealing to you. And it's extremely capable. So feel free to leave some comments down below. This video is long enough, so I'll go ahead and cut it. This is Sparta123 signing out.